This is Kerrigan & Company. Did you know that more than 90% of cyber attacks can be prevented? Focus Technology helps organizations create a cybersecurity framework to minimize your risk of being attacked. Let Focus Technology's certified team conduct an assessment to determine where the gaps are in your organization, no matter how big or small your company is. Utilizing the industry's best tools, Focus Technology's security operations team will monitor and stop bad actors before it's too late. Contact Focus Technology today at focustsi.com and secure your company's most valuable assets. That's focustsi.com. A&B Burger in Beverly and A&B Kitchen and Bar in Boston are redefining guest expectations of a casual restaurant. Both A&B restaurant locations are focused on hospitality, creative menus, and delicious food and drinks. Now, I've been to both restaurants many times and loved everything I've tried. Get to A&B Burger on Cabot Street in Beverly or head across the street from our studio at the TD Garden to A&B Kitchen and Bar in Boston today and experience the A&B difference yourself. I promise you're going to love it. Kim Kerrigan here, keeping me company today. Whether or not you like spring, summer, or fall, he's got you covered. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Kerrigan & Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan & Company is here for you.
Welcome, everybody, to Kerrigan & Company, brought to us by A&B Burger. It's great to have you with us on this beautiful day. The day that we are taping, the weather is actually fantastic. Now, that has not necessarily been the case, as everyone knows. It seems like to me the rain won't stop in the summer and the wet won't come in the winter. So something is amiss when it comes to weather. And what better way to try to figure out what the problems might be than to invite a meteorologist to keep you company? And I've done just that. Matt Noyes, who is, of course, so well known here in New England and has been on television here for a long time. Hello, my friend. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Now, I set that up, and immediately you go, oh, great. I think she thinks we're going to talk about weather.
Oh, no, it's actually just that I was thinking it's about time I'm going to get some credit for a nice day today. So you're welcome. That's it. That's it.
You know, for all of my life, I have spent time around meteorologists, and I've always thought to myself, no, that's not true. That's not where I'm going with it. And I've always thought to myself, man, what a thankless, terrible job. Because if the weather's great, nobody remembers that you said it was going to be great. Mm-hmm. And if the weather's not what you said it was going to be, then it is your fault.
Yep.
And if it's bad, it's your fault.
You know, I actually had an intro to meteorology professor back in college who would say, you know what? He said, forecasts are kind of like plane flights. He said, there's thousands upon thousands and millions of great ones, and nobody thinks about it. You got one bad one, and everybody remembers it and talks about it. It's the same thing for forecasts. And isn't it true?
It is absolutely 100%
absolutely
true. Hey, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You and I have missed each other for a lot of years.
Decades.
Yes.
Somehow we never actually met.
Do we have to go to decades? I mean, that's when you know, right? It just makes you feel like, oh, my Lord.
Well, we started when we were 15, so,
well,
it's all good. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for making me feel so much better on this beautiful day that you predicted.
That's right.
But we have missed one another. You were at Neckin, and then, of course, NBC 10, chief over there for... I'm going to say 25 years, right?
Yeah. It was 2002 I came, so 22 in total. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And first off, congratulations.
Thank
because
you.
Nobody stays in one station for that long.
Very lucky.
I mean, you really were in two, but they were, owned by the same ownership throughout. So congratulations. And just a couple of weeks ago, you made what was a very surprising announcement to the outside world. I know in your personal life and probably there at the station, everybody was prepared for that. But for those of us who were looking on, you announced that you were going to step away.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners what's behind that decision.
Well, there were a couple of things. I mean, first of all, you're right. I was so fortunate to have, over 20 years there, and what a great place to be. And I mean that. I mean, I love that station with all my heart and soul. I gave so much of myself to it, and I loved every minute of doing it. There's no question. There were a couple of things at play. One is basically out of my 24 years total in broadcast, upstate New York, and then coming home because I'm from here originally, I was on that early morning morning overnight wake up shift for 20 of them. And that it just takes a huge toll on your body. I would refer to myself as grandpa in the chair every night with the kids. They'd be playing alongside, and I'd be in the recliner just watching them play, no energy to get up and play with them. And my kids are 13, 6, and 5. And this is not really a time you want to miss that, right? So that was a huge driving part of it, right? And at the same time, I kind of looked at what's been going on. So there was this YouGov poll that came out last year, okay, that showed that in 2023, for the first time ever, less than half of folks get their weather from local television. It had never dropped below 50%,
right,
but it did. It dropped to 47.
It's the common denominator when it comes to local news. It's one thing we all have in common.
That's right,
yeah.
Exactly. So nobody ever really kind of thought that was going to happen anytime soon, right? And 53% get it from a weather app. But out of all those people who get the weather from a weather app, only 34% thought it was accurate. So I said, we have a real problem here, right? We have an issue where people want to get their weather digitally, but they don't feel like they can trust it. It's not accurate. Yet we still keep migrating to that platform anyway because it's convenient. It's what we need to do. So Danielle, my wife, and I, she's also a meteorologist, of course, and she's still on TV with NBC 10 Boston and ACN. She works part-time with them. But, we looked at this and said, digital first is where to be. It's where people are. I always had said since I graduated college, I want to get the best information to the greatest number of people possible. The greatest number of people are digital. So we said, all right, let's launch this thing and go digital.
Oh, it's so exciting. So the name of it is?
1 Degree Outside.
Yes, 1 Degree Outside. I have downloaded it, folks, and I want to tell you, it is really cool.
First
off, I really, really do.
The app? Good.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are into weather, and I am, and I think everybody is, and we're going to talk about why I think everybody's really into weather now. But if you're into weather, this is an awesome resource. And if you're somebody like me who has parents who live in the Midwest, my kids live in New York, we're all in different places. This gives me the opportunity to know what's going on with them all the time as well. Let's talk more about that venture a little later in the show.
Absolutely.
Because we want to get back to that and give it the due that it is deserved. But I want to just talk about, first off, listen, hats off. That morning shift, nobody gets it.
It's a grind.
I've been there. I've done it. And it's funny because I actually find myself now falling victim to this. I flip the TV on and I think, oh, wow, they're so lucky. They look so great at this hour. Forgetting that, you didn't just show up there.
Yeah.
So it's many hours prior, and it really does take a toll on your life.
That's very true.
I absolutely understand, and I hope you enjoy every second of this time with your kids. And it's so important.
Thank you.
But I want to talk to you about weather.
Okay, great.
Because I think, we said off the top, when people are watching news, it's the common denominator. I think anybody who's listening to this podcast, it finds it fascinating to hear someone talk about weather and what's happening with our weather. Because whether you live in New England or you live in the Midwest or you live out west, you are seeing a change in weather. And I know I'm not crazy.
No.
That's happening, isn't it, Matt?
Absolutely, yeah. And look, there's a couple different things that are at play here. One of them, certainly we hear about it a lot, is climate change, right? There's no question that that's been changing our weather patterns in these really weird ways, too, that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like, for example, there's been research done that shows that, how we either seem to get, big storms in early December or we get them in March now?
Right.
We never really get them in the middle, hardly.
Nothing in February.
That's it, right? And so, actually, research is starting to link that to climate change, because what you're doing is you're breaking up the big, massive cold by the North Pole, and when you break it up and it's all disjointed, the entire weather pattern becomes disjointed. So that's what leads to these weird bookends of winter. And it's also what led to, in 2015, remember that crazy end of winter? It didn't snow till the end of January. Then we got a season's worth of snow and broke the record in weeks. That also can be linked to climate change. So there's no question that has something to do with it. Now, I say something because there's also these what we call decadal cycles, where over 10, 20, 30, 40 years, we see these big swings in the weather. Some of that has to do with the ocean heat and salinity that's in the Atlantic. That fluctuates on a 30 to 40-year cycle. So what we've been seeing is a combination between a really active cycle that's been going on in the ocean and, of course, what's been kind of raising the baseline with climate change. So we're in this crazy time. The one thing that so far, knock on wood, we haven't seen repeated yet is a major hurricane. We haven't seen a major hurricane hit to New England since 1953 in Hurricane Carol. Of course, there's the Great Hurricane of 38. For me, that's the scary one. And to some extent, that for me was part of why I really it was a little hard to leave TV, is because I want to make sure that I'm there to help folks and guide them when that storm hits, because when it does, it would be a big deal.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, you are there, and in a different way, and we're going to continue to push that out, and we'll talk again more about that. So, as you well know, the term climate change has become a very political football.
Has, yeah.
So, in my mind, I find it hard to believe that people deny that the climate has changed. Now, I'm not using the term climate change. I'm saying that it has changed. I do know that there are a lot of meteorologists who will say and can prove that, weather is cyclical. Where are we in this, though? I mean, are we looking at this just completely changing, and before too long in the Northern Hemisphere, winter is summer, and I don't know. What happens?
I think that the first part of that is really important, the politicized part, right? Because we've seen that with almost everything. It's like none of us really want to know about probabilities, the chances of something, et cetera. We just want a yes or a no. Give me a definitive answer, right? And I'm going to take a side one way or the other. So, I mean, it's just kind of where we've been and where we've migrated to, and hopefully the pendulum swings back again a little bit. But with regard to the climate and what's been going on with that, look, I think some of it too, I'll give you, for instance, thus far, Danielle and I haven't mentioned climate change once in our 1 degree outside weather videos we've been doing, because there is so much about weather to talk about already, and we know that it's being covered in a big way by the mainstream media networks and things of that nature, getting the word, the scientific panels that are getting out. So I think to some extent there's also been this desensitization that's happened, which is, if you hit me over the head with it every single day, I'm just going to stop listening entirely, right? But to your point, it's undeniable. It certainly has been happening. I think that what I try and do, and what we're trying to do with 1 degree outside, is say, okay, so let's get you through the next week, the next 2 weeks. Let's get you through these big events. And we know there are experts who study climate for their lifetime, right? For me, I study meteorology. I study the day-to-day, the week-to-week type stuff. I'll look out a month. Once you start getting beyond that, it becomes more and more of educated guess.
Well, it's kind of funny that you're saying that, because later in the show, I intend to ask Matt what the rest of 2024 is going to be like. And we're going to call him weekly if he's not right.
I love it.
I don't want to put any pressure on you like they do on meteorologists, however.
You'll be stunned by my answer, probably.
Matt, we do this thing called Focus Technology Fast Five. We ask 5 questions.
Got it.
I think you've seen the podcast before.
You bet.
So Focus Technology is your trusted IT partner for cybersecurity, cloud, and managed services. So we want to ask you 5 questions, and we're going to give you 30 seconds to answer them. And let's see what you have to say. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Favorite season?
Favorite season is fall, because there's no pollen allergies, and it's beautiful leaves and comfortable air.
It's my favorite, too. So ding, 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 you get an A there. Favorite type of weather to forecast?
Forecasting snowstorms, because folks can stick a ruler in the ground and see if I was right or wrong. I like that.
It's interesting, because I'm sure you would prefer to just say it's sunny and mild and beautiful.
Sure.
But that's not challenging for a meteorologist, right? So if you weren't a meteorologist, what do you think you'd be doing?
State trooper. And the reason I say that, my dad was a state trooper when I was a kid, and so I always wanted to be a state trooper like him. And then along the way, I kind of deviated course to my hobby of meteorology.
I love that. That is terrific. Favorite activity that you like to do with the kids? You just named, you got 3 children. You have a boy and 2 girls, right?
You got it. Yeah, love going hiking. That's our big thing. Get out in nature, let them expand their minds, canopy of the trees, open the sky. It's beautiful.
Well, and now that you're rested, you can do that, right?
You're going easy on me so far.
If you could name a hurricane,
here we go.
What would your hurricane's name be?
Kim, without a doubt.
Oh, wow.
Come on.
That's it. He's coming back next week and the week after.
I'm going for the full-time job here. Absolutely. Hurricane Kim,
Matt, that's too fun. You're too fun. I have to tell you, I'm so glad that you're here. This is very fun. We have a lot of show to go here.
I know. I'm excited. It's a great show.
Thank you very much. Are you aware of our next guest?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. Actually.
So, are you a country fan?
I am huge.
Yeah, well, I am too. And our executive producer is a big country fan.
Awesome.
And in fact, our next guest is why he's a country fan.
Really?
Yes.
How great is that?
Right. Phil Vassar is going to join us here in just a few minutes. Not only is he a great singer, but he is a writer like nobody's business who has written so many songs for people. So that is coming your way right here on Kerrigan and Company. It's baseball season, so are you headed to Fenway anytime soon? If so, you've got to stop by the newest A&B Burger location at Time Out Market Boston. You can get your favorite burgers at A&B's new quick-serve restaurant, which is located at 401 Park Drive. Time Out Market Boston is located in the buzzing Fenway neighborhood, and A&B is the latest and the best restaurant to join this creatively curated dining destination. A trip to Fenway, whether you're headed to a game or maybe you just like the vibe in the area, isn't complete without stopping by A&B Burger at Time Out Market Boston. Head to A&B Burger at Time Out Market Boston's Fenway neighborhood today. You'll be glad you did. Do you know what generative AI is and how your company can ensure employees are more productive? Focus Technology can help you master the use of Microsoft's newest tool, Copilot. This powerful tool can help your team speed up many of their daily tasks by enabling hands-on learning directly with the software. It can summarize long emails, generate drafts of long documents, and search for answers to key questions. Copilot represents a unique opportunity for businesses to accelerate their understanding of what generative AI can deliver for their company. Contact Focus Technology today to learn more at focustsi.com and bring your organization into the AI revolution. That's focustsi.com. Ladies, I love a great dress, especially now that the weather's finally warming up. Whether I'm looking for a casual sundress during the day or a long, flouncy dress for the evening, I head to All Chic at 152 in Marblehead, Massachusetts. They have new dresses from designers in Europe and right here in the States arriving every day. Whether you like a mini or a maxi or something in between, All Chic has you covered. So take a day trip to Marblehead for some fabulous dress shopping. No matter your style, All Chic at 152 has you covered. That's All Chic at 152 Washington Street in Marblehead.
If you like rum, you're going to love Rumson's Rum, New England's most award-winning rum brand. Rumson creates distinctive and savory flavor profiles by hand-selecting and marrying the finest barrel-aged Caribbean rums. The spirits are then blended and finished in the New England Rum House. Choose from Rumson's Gold, Spiced, Grand Reserve, or Coffee Rum, which is smooth and sweet with a warm roasted coffee flavor, a hint of vanilla, and a decadent buttery finish. Find Rumson's at liquor stores or ask for it at your favorite restaurant. Learn more at rumsons.com. That's rumsons.com. Rumsons. Life lived, life enjoyed.
This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back to Kerrigan & Company, brought to you by A&B Burger. Don't forget that they have a third location now. Of course, the one in Beverly, the one right across the street from the garden here, and now over by Fenway Park. So be sure you check them out. Now, you have said that Matt, oh, by the way, Matt Noyes is with me today.
Hi.
He's keeping me company
That's
today.
right.
You have said that you're a country fan. I'm a huge country fan.
I'm a huge country fan and a huge Phil Vassar fan.
There you go.
For a long time.
You just took the words right out of my mouth. Phil Vassar is with us. He is, of course, singer, songwriter, award winner. Phil, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much for being a part of Kerrigan & Company.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
You know, I got to tell you, Matt was lucky enough to meet you once before. I have never had that chance, but both Matt and my executive producer have said that they've met you and that you are a delight. Is that true?
A delight. It depends on who you ask and what day it is, I guess.
You sound like all of us, I guess, huh?
Yeah, like all of us, right? Yeah, I try to be in a good mood most of the time. I mean, I just like to be happy, and as opposed to the other side, you know.
Absolutely. Phil, let's talk about your incredible career. You obviously have had a number of hit songs, 7 albums. I think you've had 10 number ones. I don't even remember how many in the top 40. But you're also a songwriter, and that's what I really want to talk to you about. It's this songwriting situation. When did you start that, and when did you realize that you had this ability to write songs the way you do?
As far as songwriting goes, I mean, the first song I really ever wrote was for my graduation from high school. It was kind of the beginning of all that, and then it went up to when I was in college at James Madison. I was a business major, but I did take music classes. You know, I wanted to learn how to play the piano and be a better piano player. And I always loved it. I just figured that's what I was going to do. I mean, I didn't really want to go into the business world per se. I just wanted to be an entertainer. I love doing what I do. I still do. I love it to this day.
You know, I got to tell you, Phil, your songs always have been incredible to the point where, I mean, really in the beginning, it was other folks who would sing the songs that you ended up performing in the end, right? The ones that you wrote. What amazes me, Phil, is being at one of your concerts, the amount of energy you bring to every concert, and it's positive energy, and it's upbeat energy, and it's in your songs. But I'm just curious, Kim, if it's okay for me to ask.
Sure.
I'm just curious here, Phil, what do you do for kind of a mental routine before you go out there and perform to be on point and positive every single concert the way you are?
I think part of it is that I just love what I do. I love to sing songs and I love to play music. So it's like I don't have to really get up for it or anything. I just I'm like, I get to go play music now. It's the 23 hours, going into the the show that you have to kind of do all the mundane stuff, dealing with, sound checks and doing all that stuff. It's all fun, but getting on stage and being in front of the audience and having fun with the crowd, that's what the payoff is for us. And it still is to this day. I mean, I love getting out in front of people and playing my songs. And when they sing them back, I mean, it's just nothing better.
There's got to be an unbelievable feedback, the entertainer and then feeding off the crowd. How do you make the decision about the songs that you sing versus the songs that somebody else sings? For example, Tim McGraw.
It was hard for me because I used to have a bar. Like back in the day when nobody had their own bar, I had my own bar in Nashville, and I would play music. And, being a writer, you'd try your new songs out on folks and see if they liked them or not. And then, a lot of my folks, Jody Messina, for instance, or Tim, whoever, Kenny Chesney. I mean, all these folks would come into to my bar, and then they'd end up, we all became friends, really good friends, and then then they started cutting my songs, and they got deals before I did, so it was kind of it was weird. Everybody looked at me like I was from Venus because I played piano instead of guitar. So it was a different time.
Well, you were making money. That counted more than anything, right? And get your name out there.
Well, it was great. It was a great time.
It's super. So, Just Another Day in Paradise. I mean, I have to ask you, what's the impetus behind it?
I'm telling you, that was the day. It was. I got up early that morning. I was running through my house, and I ran through my kitchen. There was about 6 inches of water in my kitchen, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was going to the door, and so I opened the door and got a package or whatever was being delivered that day, and I was like, "Oh my God!" So I had a writing appointment to go downtown and meet my buddy Craig Wiseman. We got down there, and he was late. I was late. It was just one of those days that just started out kind of crazy. And, usually we don't have an idea. We just come up with something on the spot. And it was just like, man, it was a crabby morning. I said, well, it's just another day in paradise. And we just went, let's write that. So that's what we did, kids screaming, phone, it was.
If you'd like to sing a few bars, that'd be okay. Go ahead. You can sing a few bars for us.
Phone ringing. Dog barking at the mailman, bringing that stack of bills over to. Good morning, baby, how are you? We got a half hour, a quick shower. Take a drink of milk, but the milk's gone sour. My funny face, it makes you laugh. Switch the top on and I put it back. Well, there goes the washing machine. See, worked that right in.
Woo!
Baby, don't kick it. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, you are in great voice at this moment and didn't even know we were going to ask you to sing.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It just I like doing my stuff here because I'm in front of a piano where I can come up with an idea or write a song anytime.
I like
it.
There can't be anybody on earth who cannot relate to that song.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In one way or another, right?
beautiful part of it.
I know.
Absolutely.
This is what draws people in. It really, really does. And that's great songwriting. And I love that you wrote it based on the fact that you ran through the kitchen and there was 6 inches of water on the floor. But I mean, this is what I'm fascinated by, Phil. I mean, I don't have that creativity in my mind. There's 6 inches of water on the floor and I get angry and call my husband to do something about it. So it's amazing to me that you can do that. It's just incredibly impressive. It's a gift.
It was a great day. I'm telling you. Whether it started out bad, but it ended up being a great day. We heard a great song that day, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. You're back out on tour starting next month, correct?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about this tour.
We're heading up to the Northeast, of course, and I think I'm playing Baltimore and New Hampshire. And
I'll be in Derry.
Derry, New Hampshire. It's exciting.
Yeah, so we're excited about that, and I have a lot of friends in the Northeast too, and so I get to see a bunch of my buddies I haven't seen in a little bit because I kind of took a year off from touring last year, and I didn't tour very much. So it's good to be back. My band's excited, and it's fun to see folks that you haven't seen in a long time, and hopefully they can remember the songs, and hopefully I do too. But it's always. It's always a lot. It's always good.
May I ask one more question? Is that
Sure.
okay? I've always kind of really just been amazed by folks like yourself, and then Brantley Gilbert kind of did a similar thing with being a songwriter who broke out into singing, right? Mac McAnally, did a lot of his writing, and then started to perform some. Is there for you? I think any of us who perform in any way, shape, or form realize that when you get in a routine, sometimes creativity falls by the wayside because you're in that routine of performing. Is there something for you? Is there a way that you kind of, lack of a better term, separate church and state, right? A way that you can get off of performing, really get in the zone and get to your creative side?
I just think you have to have a place where you could do it. And we always did that on tour. Like even when I was out with me and Kenny Chesney would write, we wrote a bunch of songs in those days. And, you just have to have a good environment where you can, sometimes, you got a band playing and everybody's rocking and screaming outside and you're getting ready to go on stage later, but you're in the zone, So I've got tapes of when I was writing songs and, it's a bunch of noise. You can hardly hear the song in their own room. So you have to concentrate, really develop that where you can tune out everything else but your song. And that's what you do. And it's a lot of fun. I love writing when I'm on tour. A lot of people don't. They have to be in a room or in a woods or I don't know what it is. But
that's inspirational for you, obviously. How about a great road? Give us a great road story.
Good grief. There's a lot of, we were talking the other day, and I was talking to Eddie Montgomery, and I miss Troy, and of course he does too. We had such a great friendship, and we knew each other way before we got record deals, and we had the best time touring together. Actually, me and Kenny, and the Montgomery Gentry boys went out together, and we had the best time. You talk about you couldn't ever let your guard down. It was because those guys, I'm telling you, man, they partied like I never was that guy that partied that hard. I could never do it and actually, not throw up.
Or get up the next day, right?
Already surviving to a show. But they were like, man, my eyeballs are bleeding.
I feel like this is a really long way of saying I don't have any stories from those guys I can actually tell you about on this podcast.
No, there's some great stories. But we just had such a great time and catching up with all these guys, going back out this year, I'm really excited to see, of course I talked to Jody and
a Massachusetts girl, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's just great. And I knew Jody, way before her, her deal. And I just love her, and she's just a great entertainer and a great singer, and I'm happy for her. And she had a great, year last year. And
it's great.
And, it's fun to see your friends do well.
Absolutely. Well, and you've been a big part of why a lot of those people have done well. So listen, before we go, let's talk about it one more time. You're going to be in Derry, New Hampshire. That's coming up this summer. You've got a new song coming out this year?
Yeah, I do. I do actually have a new song coming out. And
can you give us a preview?
It's called Hillbillies in Hollywood. It's pretty amazing. It's one of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Jeffrey Steele and I wrote that together, and it's fun to get together with Craig and some of these guys that I've been writing with. And actually, we didn't write for a while. It's like you get on tour and you do all this stuff and you forget about what brought you to the dance in the first place, And,
Sure.
But it's so good to be able to do all this again and be back at it and creating and I'm very happy. I'm happiest I've ever been. So
That's so great. Good for you. Sing us a few bars of this new song.
Okay. Last time I saw you, girl, it was Hotel California. Any night at the Troubadour, hanging out by the backstage door. Cigarette in the alley, motor back to the valley, headed up Laurel Canyon. Jamming to Ronstadt singing. You're no good, baby, you're no good, baby, you're no good, baby, you're no good. What I'd give now for that Mustang top down yellow brick road. Hauling down Mulholland like we owned it, hanging that bright on Sunset Boulevard. Yeah. Hillbillies in Hollywood, sun burning in Malibu, sitting on the hood. Hillbillies in Hollywood, back to the so we'll dancing and a song on the radio. Anyway,
Hey, that was great.
I don't have my lyrics in front of me. I'm like doing this about 3 weeks. It's a bad idea.
It's all good, my friend. It's terrific.
Awesome. That was awesome.
Continued success, Phil. And we're going to look forward to you here in New England. Again, that's coming up June 27th in Derry. And people can go to your official website for tickets and check out other locations. And that tour gets started in early June. Phil Vassar, best of luck.
Thanks so much for having me, you guys. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to see y'all.
You bet. Thank you.
Phil.
We'll
Great
see you in
seeing
June, okay?
Thanks, y'all.
All right. Fun guy. I like it.
He's awesome.
I can't believe he sang for us. That's
He is
crazy.
awesome. It's so great. And he brings that positive energy everywhere he goes. It's incredible.
That is incredible. That's why he didn't party the way the others that are getting dead.
That's right.
He had to hang on to his positive energy. All right, listen, when we come back, a very special story. A woman who has sacrificed so much in her life, but is turning this into something so positive. So that's coming up right here on Kerrigan & Company. I have to tell you, folks, I think lighting in your home is one of the most important things that you can do to keep the house updated. And when I need new lighting, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. Their spectacular 10,000 square foot showroom inside a beautiful mansion in Lynn, Massachusetts is decorated with both architectural and decorative lighting in every single style. From crystal and traditional to contemporary and modern, the selection is absolutely unmatched. Whenever I'm looking for new lighting, as I mentioned, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. And when I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for, I rely on the expert guidance of their design team. I know that they can help me. Learn more and book your appointment today. It's lucialighting.com. Comfy, stylish shoes are a must for the summer months. All Chic at 152 in Marblehead just expanded their shoe department. You'll find sandals for day and night, sneakers with a little dazzle, or a dressier shoe for evenings out. Whether you like a flat or a fabulous wedge, All Chic has a big selection at great prices. Hey, and while you're at it, check out their colorful handbags. You'll find crossbody, straw, and tote bags, great for all summer outings. All Chic at 152 in Marblehead, Massachusetts. Take it from me, it's elevated fashion for every budget. That's All Chic at 152. This segment of Kerrigan & Company is brought to us by North Shore Music Theater. Get tickets for Jersey Boys playing May 7th through the 19th at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everybody. This is Kerrigan & Company. Certainly glad that you could be with us. Of course, it's presented today by A&B Burger, and we appreciate our friends there. With me, keeping me company today is Matt Noyes. He, of course, meteorologist Matt Noyes. And Matt and I are going to do a whole lot of talking yet about a new project that he has going on that is very exciting, and I'm going to try to pin him down about what he thinks our summer is going to look like. Hopefully, he's going to give us an idea of what we can expect. But before that, Matt, our next guest, I'm just so pleased that she can be here with us. She and her husband and her entire family suffered a tremendous loss back in 2014, the life of their daughter, Anna Jerome. and Kris Jerome is here, and they've turned that tragedy into something positive on behalf of Anna, and that is Anna's Pals. That's the name of the organization. Kris is here. Kris, it's great to have you here. Thank you so very much. You guys lost Anna back in 2015 to an aggressive form of leukemia. Can you maybe share your story with us?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite horrifying. We were on a family vacation. Anna was complaining of a sore throat, and I'm like, of course you have strep while we're away. We get back, I bring her to the doctor. Her pediatrician goes, oh my God, it's not strep. She is a walking case of mono. She's definitely got mono. Okay. Let's do some blood work. Here's my cell phone number. If I don't get back to you right away, call me. She doesn't get back to me, doesn't get back to me, doesn't get back to me. So finally, towards the end of the day, I reach out to her. She's like, why don't you grab Anna and come back into my office? I'm like, that's weird. Okay. They've never been on steroids before. I know steroid is, so I'm like, maybe she wants to talk me through, what's going to go on with that. And the poor pediatrician, it took her about an hour to get the words out that it was leukemia. And she said, you got to pack a bag and go to Children's right now. They know you're coming. So I call my husband. I say, pack a bag for her. We're not going to be home for a little while. We didn't leave for 5 months. She was in the hospital for 5 straight months. There are basically I don't want to say popular, but two more common kinds of leukemia. The ALL is typically found in younger children. That's what you usually hear about. And AML is an older person's leukemia, and that's what she had for some strange reason. And they don't have a lot of treatments for pediatric AML. They kind of take the adult version and they dumb it down to a child version. So she was in there for 5 months. It was tough. First of all, she was a teenager, so being stuck in the hospital for 5 months was this year she was going to be a freshman in high school also, so that was very challenging. And so she went into remission.
Kris, why can I interrupt you and just ask you, why was she there for 5 months? Why was she not allowed to go home?
Because the treatment is so intense.
Okay.
That she has to be constantly
monitored. They need to watch her and monitor so closely. Okay.
So, and her first round of chemo, she did go into remission right away, but they have to keep going just to make sure they get it all. Mm-hmm. And so she came home. We agreed to do a clinical study. So we went to St. Jude's for the month of December, and they basically took some cells from my husband, the killer cells, put them into her body, and that was supposed to get any leukemia cells that could have been there. Come home. She goes to school finally in January, only to relapse in February. So then she went in for a bone marrow transplant, which is what really changed everything. Although the first 5 months were difficult, she went to Boston Latin School, which is right across the street from the hospital. So all her friends, the pals, as they called themselves, came over every day. They called her room the party room. There were kids at the hospital all the time. Once she went for the bone marrow transplant, that really changed because it totally takes out your immune system, and she could only have a couple people in the room at a time, and that was really a challenge. And then once she came home, that was another 3-month stay. And once she came home from the hospital, no school, no friends, no nothing. I mean, really, basically what we did during COVID, she did by herself. I mean, in COVID, everybody was having the same issue. For her, life went on without her. Her friends went to school, her siblings went to school, and she did nothing. So, and we thought that was the ticket out of here, but then that didn't. She still relapsed later, so we lost her after the relapse, after the bone marrow transplant.
Right. So at that point, I mean, obviously that's a horrific, devastating experience for everyone. But over a certain amount of time, I know that you and your husband started to talk about the fact that one of the most difficult things was that she was so isolated, that the family became so isolated because of her immunocompromised state. So you've developed this group. And this group does a lot of things for other things, but Anna's Pals. And you guys have decided that there's a project that you want to see completed that means that no one else who goes through this goes through the same experience.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about that.
So we decided we wanted to do something. I mean, people were so good to us while she was sick. We felt that we should really give back too. So we founded Anna's Pals, and our original goal was just to support the kids in the hospital because it's such a long stay. They do lots of things there, lots of dinners and stuff. What they did not do there is Chinese food, and that was Anna's favorite. So while she was in there, we started bringing in Chinese food for the floor. And since then, through Anna's Pals, we continue. So once a month, we bring in Chinese food for
That's great.
the blood disorder floor. We would bring in toys for the resource room and all that stuff. But for what you mentioned, yeah, we just decided that it was so traumatizing for her and her siblings to be so isolated that we needed to do something. So we have been working on a beach house project. She was a fish. She loved the water. She loved the sand. She loved the sun. And she loved the Cape. So we've been working on a beach house for immunocompromised kids. And we were finally able to close on a property a couple months ago. So now we just really have to make this happen. And it's an abandoned schoolhouse, and we are going to turn the 8 classrooms into apartments so we could host 8 families at a time.
Wow.
It'll be built with mold and mildew-resistant materials, have air filtration systems, much like the hospital does, and families can talk to other families going through the same things. Siblings can talk to other siblings who are going through the same things, and the patients can get out of the clinical environment and, and be kids. I mean, a week at a time, but it's a week. It's a week that we didn't have, and the siblings bond with each other. I mean, it's the kids start to resent each other, and that's not fair to them. They have to live with that for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to be able to unite them and bring them together is just so important.
So stumbling block number 1 was finding a place. You're past that.
Correct.
Congratulations.
Check.
That's
Thank you.
great. What are the stumbling blocks that you see that you're either hitting now or you see down the road, and how can folks kind of give you some help to get you over those stumbling blocks? What are you looking at right now?
We just started a capital campaign to raise money for the project to rehab it. It's probably going to cost around $5 million start to finish to make it safe for these kids.
Yeah.
And then moving forward after that will be, maintenance and just ongoing expenses, which will be costly too. Because we would like to be free. I mean, some parents can't work anymore. I mean, people lose their jobs. I mean, cancer treatment can be so expensive. And it's not just cancer treatment, right? I mean, lots of kids get bone marrow transplants. I mean, sickle cell anemia is a huge one.
Sure.
That's one of the only treatments for that. And I mean, they all go through the same experience.
Well, and I think people have to understand when a child or anyone is immunocompromised, I mean, it can last for a short amount of time. It can last for years. It could be a lifetime.
Correct.
And they really cannot be exposed to anything or anyone, which limits the entire family.
Correct.
So, I mean, everybody is sort of living this life, which is really tough. So, like you're saying, just 1 week of downtime.
Right.
Can the families intermingle amongst one another, though?
In the right conditions.
Okay.
So with the right air filtration systems in an outside space.
Okay, great.
So, I mean, all that's really important. That's why we'd have, the building that we have is an old school, so it has a gym. So that gym would be like a rec room, and we'd make sure that is very filtered and very clean.
Sure.
And, for my kids, Anna has a twin brother. She has a little sister, and, they were athletes and all that stuff. So, every time they come in the door, there was hand sanitizer they'd have to do. They'd have to change their clothes. We didn't have any towels because towels support mold and mildew. So you wipe your hands, everything would go in the laundry right away. Paper towels. I mean, we killed a lot of trees going through this treatment, but it's what we had to do. And,
Sure.
I mean, every family going through this has these same restrictions. And so to make a difference for someone is important.
It certainly is. So how are we going about raising this $5 million?
Our capital campaign.
Okay, so what are you holding events? Are you, how
Yes.
can people find out about
Yes.
that?
The Born to Make a Difference campaign, because the house is in the town of Bourne.
Yeah.
We are hosting a golf tournament June 24th at George Wright Golf Club in Hyde Park.
Okay.
And we have openings for golfers and certainly for sponsors right now. So
Great.
Yeah.
And I think people can go to Anna's Pal's website, yes?
Anna'sPals.org.
And there's lots of ways on there to look and to see how you can donate. Right. And keeping in mind that not only are we trying to build this beach house, but you guys continue to support kids over at the hospital, and that's so important.
We do,
I mean, I can't imagine, Kris, I have 2 children, and I can't imagine what you as a family went through when you have a child who's ill. It's no doubt has to be the single most horrible thing that anyone can go through. Yes. And these kinds of supports from outside are incredible. And they're important, aren't they?
They are. I mean, we relied on so many people and so many programs. So I feel like we need to do our part to give that back.
I love these cups that you brought
Well,
in.
thank you.
And
Those
these,
are for the players for the golf tournament.
This
Yes.
that's great. And
Yes.
is there a story behind the logo, the drawing of the logo you have?
One of Anna's friends drew it. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely beautiful.
It's great. Well, listen, I think it's such a fabulous cause, and we will absolutely push it out on all of our social for
Thank
you
you.
guys, and we'll be very anxious to check in and see the progress as we go. Do you have a goal in mind, maybe time-wise, how quickly you'd like to raise the money?
Well, yesterday would be fabulous.
No, it would. It would.
Within 2 years, we would like to really start construction and getting this ready. I mean, 2 years is 2 years too long for the kids that are going through it now.
Of course.
Obviously, the sooner we can do it, the better.
Have you found this project to be rather cathartic? I mean, obviously, I would assume that it's the whole every day is somewhat surreal, right? And having said that, I guess what I'm thinking of and what I'm asking about is for other folks who are dealing with a similar loss. Have you found this project to be cathartic in the fact that it helps to kind of focus some of that energy? Would you recommend it to others to do this, or is it just a very difficult road, or maybe both?
I think it's personal for everyone. Everybody, deals with grief differently and deals with challenges differently. Definitely for me, I have a lot of nervous energy to begin with, and to be able to focus that in one area was very important. And I just can't wait for the end result to see the impact it makes, and to be able to offer these kids and these families and these siblings and these parents and these aunts and uncles and everybody just a reprieve. I mean, that's
going to be huge.
So important, yeah.
AnnasPals.org.
.org, yes.
Okay, be sure that you check it out, folks. Kris, we're so glad you could come in
Thank
and
you for
share her
having me.
story.
Thank you.
She's lucky to have had a mom like you who's out there, and father. Her dad is here in the room as well, I know, who are working to keep her memory alive. So thank you very, very much for
Thank
being
you.
with us.
Thank you.
And we're going to wrap things up when we come back right here on Kerrigan and Company.
How did 4 blue-collar kids become one of the greatest success stories in pop music history? Find out at Jersey Boys, the Tony Award-winning musical about Frankie Valli and the 4 Seasons. Experience the true story musical phenomenon that takes you behind the scenes and behind the music. Jersey Boys is on stage at Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater now through May 19th only. Get your tickets today at nsmt.org.
My friends at Sienna Aesthetics know that physical appearance and self-esteem go hand in hand. Whether it's a medical condition or purely cosmetic, the team at Sienna Aesthetics believes we all deserve to feel our best. As soon as you enter their beautiful medical spa located in the Cumming Center in Beverly, Massachusetts, you'll feel cared for and at ease with every touch point of their service. To learn more or book an appointment, simply go to siennaaesthetics.com. That's siennaaesthetics.com. I recommend you check them out today. It's siennaaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. This is Kerrigan and Company, and thank you so much for being a part of it today. Brought to us by A&B Burger. Matt Noyes has been here with me, keeping me company. We're just recapping some of the events of the hour or whatever that we've been here, talking about Phil Vassar singing, which was just
amazing.
I couldn't believe it. He really did
Sang
do it.
right for you on your podcast. That's right. That's your first music star.
He was
singing
my
on the
first
podcast.
star to sing
That's
on the
awesome.
podcast. You know what was so funny? I was going to say it at the time, but so in the past we've had Ruth Pointer from the Pointer
Right.
Sisters.
Oh, yeah, I love that. That was what a great interview.
And when asking her, thank you, that's
Yeah.
nice of you to say. When asking her how long she would tour, she said, when they have to put teleprompters up for the music that I've sang forever, then I'm not touring anymore. And I'm telling you what, they didn't need a prompter for Phil.
Yep.
He knew every word. He was
But
on
can't
it.
we relate as we sit here in front of the camera and the microphone?
Honestly, right. Yeah, exactly. If I have to start wearing my glasses to see the camera, then I'm going home. That's enough of that anyway. So listen, we talked a little bit at the beginning of the podcast about your new project.
Yes,
but
yeah.
let's talk about that again because this
Sure.
really is exciting.
Oh,
I know
thanks.
what it's like to launch something new.
Yeah, right.
And it's all consuming, number one.
Yeah, that's it.
But boy, it's so exciting. So 1 degree outside.
You got it. Yes.
Where'd you get the name?
All right. So, this is really the idea behind this is that we want to be as accurate as possible. We want folks to know that this 1 degree outside is tied in with accuracy, but we also are humble enough to understand that we're not going to be precisely right every time, right? Sometimes you're going to be 1 degree outside. The other part of that too is that outside is the whole thought process here, right? I mean, really, that we live our lives. When you think about why do I check the weather all the time? Why am I obsessively checking it sometimes? Well, probably you've got some sort of an event planned outside, some sort of a family party. You got something really important, right? Yeah. One of the things that one of the promos that we ran on NBC 10 Boston when I was there was actually a real quote from an interview I'd done where I say, look, everybody is somebody's most important day, right? And so that is really true.
It is true.
So the idea here is, all right, let's give the best forecast possible every single day.
Yeah. Now, you just have to go to Apple and download it.
Yes.
Go to the Apple Store.
I can't believe the response. Kim, it's been like crazy. So we hit number 16 in the App Store for weather apps over the course of this past weekend. That was amazing.
Fabulous.
We're on pace for just shy of 400,000 page views on our website for the month of May alone, and this is the first month that we've launched it, right? The thirst was real, and I have to be honest with you, it's really taken Danielle and I by surprise, because we thought, okay, this will be something great to launch, it'll be good to do, right? We didn't expect the kind of feedback, the kind of immediate response that we've gotten. We actually have 3 prongs to the business. So one is the public-facing weather videos that you see at onedegreeoutside.com and on the app, okay? The other one is a private video service. Basically, you could think about it as Meteorologist as a service. So if you are a company that needs private forecast services, but you want to have that on video and be able to get a professional presentation with it, you have that option. And the final part takes months to build out, but that's actually a proprietary weather data part. So really accurate, really detailed weather info. When I was at NBC, I had spent 10 years spearheading and leading the build of their own computer forecast model that goes out 10 days for all different sorts of weather stuff. I left that with them, and I'm proud to leave that with them. But now the technology, we've got artificial intelligence, we've got new technology and processing. So we're looking at this saying the chances now to make some really awesome weather data that can go into these apps in addition to just giving a presentation.
Wow. So exciting. This has been in the works longer than the last 3 weeks, I am
Well, actually, really, to be candid with you, Danielle was able to put some pieces of it kind of together. But for me, I'll give you an example of how quick of a spin-up it's been. When I came off air, it was the end of March. First week of April, we got that nor'easter. Remember that? We had 1.5 foot of snow in spots, right? We said, we better do something, right? It's like we better at least show that we're not dead, right? We're not going away here. So we said, all right, let's do this. So I was in front of my webcam. Well, my 13-year-old son gets in the car after school. He goes, Dad, I watched your video. I'm like, yeah. He goes, you got to put a suit on or something, man. I said, wait a minute. I said, I never thought that for my 13-year-old son. Are you serious? I thought you'd like it relaxed. He goes, no, Dad, you got to look professional. You got to get the suit and tie going again. We went to dinner with a buddy of mine who goes, you look like such a dweeb in front of a webcam. You got to do something about that. So up went the green screen. We built the chroma key, and then I get the suit and the tie back on. Okay, all right, got it, But honestly, it's been that quick of a spin up, but the data part of it that I was telling you about, that's going to take months to build. Yeah, so that is going to take a long time. But no, it's really been that quick of a spin up.
Well, Matt, I will tell you, I have it on my phone, and I'm checking it every single day.
I'm so glad.
I'm watching the videos, which are incredibly professional. They're great.
Thank you. I'm glad.
You guys are terrific.
Thank you.
I actually wondered if you, as somebody who kind of has an eye, obviously, for these kinds of things, I was thinking maybe you guys were actually going somewhere to do it. So I'm thrilled that it's at your house.
It is. We have an office coming soon, though.
Yeah, well, it makes life a little easier, though, for you guys right now, which is really great.
And just not getting up at 1:30 in the morning. I mean, I was to the point by the time that I stepped down, I was using an inhaler 4 to 6 nights a week just to breathe straight. Haven't used it in 3 weeks and change. Things are going great, and the body is healing really quickly. It was just a long time on an overnight shift.
Life is too short.
That's it.
And that's not to say that those opportunities like morning shifts on big television stations.
Oh, I'm so blessed.
Of course.
Absolutely.
But there comes a time when you take what you've developed there and you take it somewhere else to do something else with it, which is really great.
I'm very lucky to do that. I'm very lucky that folks like yourself and folks who've been following us have come along for the journey and are being so supportive. Thank you, everybody. Really, thank you so much.
It's terrific. So, the summer, what can we expect?
Okay.
I am sick to death of the rain. We had a rainy summer last year.
I know. All right. Okay. So here's the answer in a nutshell. First of all, I'm going to start out by saying, and this is the part I was telling you might stun you at the beginning, okay? Which is that I am a meteorologist who firmly believes that a lot of it becomes sensationalism at the seasonal forecasts, okay? Because we don't have much more accuracy than flipping a coin. A little bit better than flipping a coin, but not by much, right? So that's the first thing, is for all that you see that's done up like, don't miss our seasonal forecast, right? There's no real skill.
So you don't believe in woolly worms and all those things? Is that what you're trying to say? They might be more accurate
than we are. However, what I can say is this, that we talked about climate change's impact earlier, right? And one of the things that's done is really kind of delayed our transition of seasons. So if you think back, really May has been kind of cool and kind of crummy the past few years. June, we kind of make that May transition with the clouds, and we're trying to break out of it. And then, because overall the Northern Hemisphere is warmer than normal, boom, once you're into it, it just opens up the warmth. We didn't have a lot of hot days last year. This year, I'll be surprised if we don't. I think the way things are set up, it's going to favor us getting into some deeper heat, particularly in the middle to later part of the summer. And what we've seen lately is with that delay, Septembers have been beautiful.
True.
Folks that live on the Cape.
So true.
You get your house back and you get your all your roads back in September. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't see any reason why that's going to stop. The only thing, as I mentioned earlier, that I do worry about is we've got a ton of energy in the Atlantic Ocean this year. And so we know it's going to be an active hurricane season. So what I would say to folks, just putting on my meteorologist hat again, right, is please at least be prepared for if a hurricane would threaten the coast. Know what you would do. Try to have the plywood on hand for the windows if you live right at the coast. Take pictures of your property for insurance reasons. If nothing were to happen this year, fine, you've got that stuff in the future. Which is, in New England, really, really important.
It certainly is. Listen, I wish you the best of success.
Thank you. Likewise.
It's 1
Thanks for letting me be
degree
a part of yours.
outside. Be sure you check it out, guys. You're going to love it, honestly. It's really great.
Thank
and
you
I'm so glad
much.
that we had the chance to meet and spend some time together.
Finally, I have watched you my whole career, and it is fantastic to get to meet you in person.
Thank you very much. We've got lots in common, including Phil Vassar.
That's right.
Just another day in paradise.
That's right.
So glad that you could be with us today on Kerrigan & Company. Be sure you check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on social if you will, please. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Kerrigan & Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan & Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan & Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley. And our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.
Yes, Kerrigan & Company is